So Donald Trump just said he may sanction Ukraine. Check this out.
Thousands of young people, mostly young people, are dying every single week. If I can save that by doing sanctions or by just being me or by using a very strong tariff system that's very costly to Russia or Ukraine or whoever we have.
He also said Zelensky is not innocent.
Now, I have to also see, because not everybody, Zelensky is not exactly innocent either, okay? It takes two people to tango, and I say it all the time. You got to get them together. I get along with Zelensky now, but we have a much different relationship because now we're not paying any money to Ukraine. Stop that.
So Trump also said Ukraine went into this war expecting to win against Russia, but how do you fight somebody 15 times your size expecting to defeat that person? It doesn't make any sense. So he said this was a very big mistake by the Biden administration. I don't know how to best explain this. You watch the video.
Very tricky, very horrible, but with war you never know. Things change. People go into war, think they're going to win the war, and then they get their asses kicked, and they lose their country, and they lose millions of lives. Nobody goes into a war thinking they're going to lose. They go in. I'm sure that Ukraine thought they were going to win. It's going to be, we're going to win. You're going to beat somebody that's 15 times your size. Biden shouldn't have let that happen.
So that was Donald Trump for you. Trump said if he have to sanction the Ukrainians, he would do that. By the way, I'm not the one saying. This is the first time that Trump is making such statement when it comes to Ukraine. He has threatened the Russians several times when it comes to sanctions. But when it comes to the Ukrainians, this is the first time that we are seeing Trump, threatening the Ukrainians. So the Ukrainians continue to attack the West. They said all what the West is doing is fake promises. They need weapons, they need money, but the West continue to promise them, which are empty promises. So the Telegraph, this British, media posted something which was quite interesting. Ukraine need weapons and money, not empty promises. Goncharenko writes for the Telegraph. These guys, they have weird names. Goncharenko, what a name. By the way, let's continue. So this is what he said. Or this is what the Ukrainian, this is the position of many Ukrainians, by the way. If we look at the picture as a whole, we see a dead end. The West would like to help, but does not want to, or cannot take responsibility for providing real guarantees. No one is ready to send their troops to fight for Ukraine. That is a fact. You are on your own. Nobody wants to fight for you. By the way, let's continue. And the reality is that we do not need someone to fight for us. You see them? They are now flexing muscles. You don't need anybody to fight for you yet. You have nothing. In fact, when it comes to men, currently on the ground, Ukrainians are losing a lot of men, and they really need soldiers. That is a fact. We just need help to fight ourselves. You need help, really? Okay, let me continue. It is time for clarity and pragmatism. Ukraine does not need declaration. It needs resources. So that is what the Ukrainians are saying. So those of you who have been following what is happening, in this month, the Ukrainians has targeted a lot of Russian refineries. By the way, the Ukrainians don't have such intelligence, they don't have the capability. It's actually the West and America who continue to provide them with these weapons. Ukraine drones target 10 refineries this month, representing 17% of all Russian refinery capability. Oh, that is true. So these refineries that they targeted, it represents about 17% of Russian total output. So this is a huge blow to the Russians. To our regular viewers, I've spoken a lot about general resolution, and those of you who watch my videos, I talk a lot about general resolution all the time. By the way, those of you who don't know who General Zelensky is, he was the overall commander of the Ukrainian armed forces. He was the overall commander, meaning the whole army. He was the top commander. Now, he became a threat to Zelensky. According to several reports, General Zelensky may replace Zelensky. The West is trying to kick out, Zelensky and replace him with General Zaluzhny. Now, General Zaluzhny made some statements which is quite interesting. He said modern warfare does not allow keeping a large number of people in trenches, said the former commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine and now ambassador to UK. Yes, to those of you who are wondering, why is the war taking so long? Why is the war taking so long? This is why. Because, you see, modern warfare is completely different from what you know. This is not the Napoleon War, or this is not World War I or World War II. No. Drones has made modern warfare completely different. Now, if you concentrate a large number of troops in one place, a drone will just hit you. Drone will finish you off. That is the reality on the ground. Let me read something interesting. He said something. He said, a $50 robot will find you and kill you. Therefore, we need to find a solution to that. We do not have to send, someone back in time, said Zaluzhny. Yes. So today, it doesn't matter the type of equipment you are using. A drone will find you and destroy it. A $50 drone can destroy weapon worth of millions of dollars. That is a reality. So this time around, you have to fight slow. That is why the Russians have been patient. If you observe from the beginning of the war, Putin is not rushing, because this is completely different. So what the Western journalists are sitting on TVs and whatever they are saying, they've never experienced this kind of war. This kind of war is completely new. This is the first advanced, most technologically war which is currently being fought between Russia and Ukraine. So this is completely different from any other war you know. So another interesting news is coming in from Georgia, which is quite funny for me. This is completely, I don't know. So according to reports, the West is blackmailing Georgia to open another front. By the way, let me read it for you. The West blackmailed Georgia to open a second front against Russia. According to the West, they will provide Georgia with enough weapons to fight against the Russians. Let me read it for you. The Secretary General of Georgia, which is the Dream Party, spoke about the pressure on Georgia from the West. Okay. According to him, there were direct threats and blackmail in Prime Minister office. The West demand to open a second front against Russia. In return, they promised weapons and equipment. Of course, there is evidence of this, and if necessary, we will act. But it is in the country's interest to remain as it is. Okay, Kalazi emphasized. He also reported that the blackmail continued. Partners threatened to suspend the visa-free regime with the EU. Oh, so how did it go in 2008 when the Russians invaded Georgia? How did this West help the Georgians? The West watched Georgia fall when the Russians invaded Georgia in 2008. They did nothing. In fact, by then, Putin was even the prime minister. He was not a president. By then, it was Medvedev who was the president. They did nothing to help Georgia. And here they are, pushing Georgia to open another front. In fact, I think the Georgians have learned a lot of sense. They are wise. They're right. They know very well that if they open another front, there is no way that the West is going to support them. So it is in the best interest of their own country not to open another front. Once they open another front, they should look at Ukraine. I don't think somebody like me should be telling them. In fact, they have brains enough. When you look at what is happening in Ukraine, if they would have supported Ukraine, by this time they would have done it a long time. The point is, Ukraine has now gotten to a point that they don't want to support them again. That is a fact. By the way, if you are still watching this video, you're welcome to Timothy 360. Guys, don't forget to hit on that like button. It's very, very important. And if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. So over the night, whilst you guys were sleeping, enemy attacked Rostov. The Ukrainians attacked Rostov, which is a Russian territory. Check the videos out. That is one thing about drone warfare. So my real aim here is to cover both sides. If the Russians attack the Ukrainians, I'll let you guys know. If the Ukrainians attack the Russians, I'll let you guys know. Hope this is fair. This is from Sputnik Africa. So in Toronto, they renamed an area to Sankofa, which derives from the Ghanaian language, the Akan language to be precise. So this is what they said. This is what Sputnik posted. They said, in late 2023, Toronto officially retired the name Young Dundas Square after more than 14,000 people petitioned against its tribute to Henry Dundas, the 18th century Scottish politician who delayed the abolition of transatlantic slave trade. Okay. So they said the square has been reborn as Sankofa Square, drawing from Akan word in Ghana, which is the Cree dialect, roughly meaning to go back and retrieve. That is actually a fact because I speak Cree, I speak the Akan language, and that is absolutely correct. It is an Akan word, Sankofa. Yes, go back and retrieve. Oh, another important thing. A train derailed in Nigeria, which is a sad incident. But the good news is nobody lost his life. Some people got some minor scratches, but absolutely normal, which is something we thank God for. Thank you very much for watching today's show. So guys, once again, you see, when I ask you guys, where are you watching the video from? It really helps the community a lot. Yes, it helps the community a lot. So those of you who watch the video till the last end, please let me know where you're watching the video from. Shalom. See you guys in the next episode.